Assalamu alaikum, peace and the mercy and blessings of God be with all of you. Ramadan Mubarak, thanks for tuning in and joining me on this live video. In this short presentation, I'd just like to give a quick commentary on Surah Al Baqarah, since this is what most likely many of you are reciting in your mosques or in your homes in the Taraweeh prayers. In my case, I'm praying at home because our mosque and most of the mosques in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, are closed at this time due to the pandemic. Well, you all know the story. So, very quickly, Surah Al Baqarah, this is the second chapter of the Quran. It's the longest chapter of the Quran. And in a very comprehensive way, it captures the teachings of the whole Quran. It's as if Surah Al-Fatiha is a very short introduction to the entire Quran. And then Surah Al-Baqarah is a more expansive introduction to the entire Quran, almost like a summary of the whole thing. So short summary, long summary. Surah Al-Baqarah is a long summary. So in Surah Al-Baqarah we have all of the articles of faith. آمَنَ الرَّسُولُ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. The Prophet, the Messenger believes, and the believers believe. They believe in what? كُلٌّ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَكُتُبِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ. All of them believe in Allah and His angels, in His books, and His messengers. So those are the essential beliefs of the Muslims. So also Yawm al-Akhir is mentioned so many times in this surah. Believe in the life hereafter, and resurrection from the dead, and accountability for our deeds. Now, those are the main pillars. Then the practices of Islam. In this surah we have the Shahada, bearing witness to the fact that there's no God but Allah. We have the Salat, حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى, take care of your prayers, and also the middle prayer. We have the enjoinment to give zakat or charity. So several verses in this surah tell us about spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَنفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. O you believe, spend in the way of Allah. وَأَنفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ, and spend out of what we have provided you, and so on. So zakat, charity. The fasting in the month of Ramadan, this is mentioned in this surah in the 183rd verse. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ. This fasting has been prescribed for you. And we have also the performance of pilgrimage. وَأَتِمُّوا الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. Perform the Hajj and the Umrah for the sake of God. So you see all of the pillars are mentioned here as well. The social system of Islam is mentioned in here in this surah. We have regulations regarding marriage and regarding divorce, how to live with your spouse in a situation of harmony and love. All of that is covered in this surah. Living in society, the fact that we're not allowed to charge anyone interest. So the Quran says, لا تأكلوا الربا, do not take riba, do not take interest. And that is detailed in this chapter. This chapter also deals with the political situation of the Muslims, and as a political entity, how would the Muslim society govern itself. So we have regulations about jihad, what is meant by the struggle in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to what extent can we fight. It says, وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. Fight in the way of God against those who are attacking you, but do not transgress limits. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Certainly God does not like those who transgress limits. That is in the 190th verse of this surah. So you can see, altogether, this is a very comprehensive surah. And before saying more about this, I would like to go to your questions and comments and see what I can answer for you. So let me drink a sip of water, because I just finished praying the Taraweeh prayer, then I rushed over to start this live video. Bismillah. So, let me put my glasses on so I can see your comments, and I think I need to bring the tripod a little bit closer. I see. Okay, so Jiba, mashallah, thank you for tuning in. My nephew Johnny saying salam Chacho. Only he can call me Chacho. And yes, salam back to you, Johnny. And Roy, salam, listening. Okay, yes, Roy Imdadwal. Thank you, Brother Roy. I miss coming to Imdadwal Jamaat Masjid. You know, on a night like tonight, probably I would have been there. I would have enjoyed your cooking there, Brother Roy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and reward you for all your service to the community over the years. I don't know how things are at Imdadwal, but I suppose that the masjid is not open. And I'm sure that you miss the community there, that you always are serving. And I miss you. I miss being there as well. Muhammad, salam bhai, and salam to you too. Rebecca, hi from the UK. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and all of the people of the UK. Sister Rebecca, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the entire world and remove from us this deadly coronavirus. So fixed deposits, are they halal? Shireen is asking. Fixed deposits. So if fixed deposits means that you're going to get an interest return on that, then no, the interest will not be halal, but you can take your principal back. Some people may keep their money in fixed deposits for different reasons, but if you're just keeping it for the interest, no, sorry, that's not allowed. So we're not allowed to take interest. You see, the logic seems to be that from the Quranic point of view, especially in the time when the Quran was revealed some 1400 years ago, when we didn't have all of the kinds of checks and balances that are there in today's societies. But even in today's societies, you have like the loan sharks and so on who will charge exorbitant interest. So in our modern society, generally, it is considered in economic terms that the money has a certain productivity value. So you can plow it into a business and you can make a return. Or you can lend it to somebody else who might plow it into a business and they will make the return and they give you part of the return. So this whole logic of, the modern society and how it functions in terms of interest. So if you have money sitting at home under your mattress, that's not going to earn any interest. But if you lend it to somebody, they use it in business, they generate money out of that, so they give you a cut. So it makes sense in a way, in that way. But what also happens is that people lend out their money to people who are in need, and those people, like let's say somebody has no food, so but they figure, okay, they take a loan, get money to buy food now, they can repay it later, but then lo and behold, when they're ready to repay it, they have to repay it with interest. So these poor people who didn't have enough to eat in the first place now have to pay interest on top of the little humble earning that they have. So out of the humble earning that they have to pay interest on top of the loan. So this does not seem fair to the poor people. And what the Quran wants to encourage, on the other hand, is zakat or charity. Instead of charging the poor people, you should give them something. So if you happen to have to loan them, yeah, but then just take back the loaned amount. You don't take back interest on top of that. So that seems to be the rationale of the Quran. More than this, in ancient times, people sometimes got into debt with compounded interest, and then they can't pay it back, and it keeps building and compounding. Eventually, sometimes people had to sell themselves and become slaves in order to pay for their debts. So with all of this, the Quran ruled against taking interest altogether. So we're not allowed to take interest. Don't even go there. All right, Mario, peace be upon you, and peace be upon you as well. Mario Z from Brother Zabar and family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, my sister. The Mursaleen family is very dear to me, and I'm so sorry that the masjid is closed and we can't meet together in the masjid. We would have been having this lecture in the masjid there tonight. But nonetheless, here we are. And for those who are connected with the Dawah Center, please be aware that I have formed a WhatsApp group to include all such persons, so that we can communicate and talk about the affairs regarding the masjid, but also so that we can have a special Zoom meeting, which I started tonight. We'll have that every night at 9:15, and in that Zoom meeting we will get a chance to reconnect as a community. We can't see each other in the mosques, but we'll see each other inshallah in that Zoom meeting. So find out, ask Brother Zabar to send me, well, okay, I'll have in mind, but in case I forget, ask Brother Zabar to to email me and ask for the link to that WhatsApp group so you can join the group, and on that group you will get the links towards the to join us on the Zoom meeting, inshallah, every evening. So meanwhile, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and your family and the entire world. Okay, Walter, assalamu alaikum, Dr. Shabir, wa alaikum assalam, Brother Walter. Afsar, assalam, any thought that you can share on the naming of the Surah Al Baqarah? Well, the Surah is called Al Baqarah, and in general, we should know that the name that is given to the surahs are not divinely revealed. Like God didn't say, okay, call this surah by this name. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not seem to have indicated to the Muslims like the names of the surah, as far as we can tell. Like there's no, I'm not aware of authentic reports that go back to the Prophet, peace be upon him, that say that he said that this surah should be called by this name. But it is mentioned that when parts of the Quran used to be revealed to him, he would direct his companions to write this new part in such and such a surah where such and such a thing is mentioned. So in other words, he's directing them to the particular surah and the position within that surah where the new bit of revelation is to be inserted. So it's possible that he named the surah, but that's not so entirely clear. Maybe he recited a portion. So, for example, the first surah of the Quran, we might call it Surah Al-Hamd because it starts with Alhamdu. Or we might call the 112th surah of the Quran Surah Al-Ikhlas, which is a name that's given to it to signify the fact that it talks about the worship of God purely, having religion purely for God, and God is the only God, and we're purely for Him. Or somebody may say Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So one knows the surah from the specific wording that is within that surah. So how the surahs got their names, this is not entirely clear in our history. However, Surah Al Baqarah is so called Surah Al Baqarah because within the surah it has the story of the cow, where the people of Israel were being told to sacrifice the cow and or to slaughter the cow, and they were raising all kinds of questions to Musa alayhi salam as if they didn't want to do it. And then in the end, all the questions were answered, and then still they did it in a kind of reluctant way. So that's how it gets the surah. It doesn't mean that the whole surah, like this surah, is describing the cow, and then another surah will describe something else, as if we were reading a biology textbook. One surah is about one chapter about the cow, another chapter is about the horse, and something like this. No, the surah is more comprehensive than that, but there's something like a little catchphrase that will remind people about something in that surah. They know which one exactly you're talking about. I'm going to drink some more water here. Okay. So, Jubair, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, Ahmed Sufyan. MashaAllah, I can see your mug with Malaysia flag. Yes, Sufyan, actually, I bought this. You see, it says here Malaysia. My wife and I were in Malaysia. I can see, you're probably seeing it in reverse. We bought this when we were in Malaysia some time ago, and we have very fond memories of being there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of the people of Malaysia. So you said you're from Malaysia, based in Indonesia. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the people of Indonesia as well from the deadly coronavirus and from every other disease and stress and distress. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the entire world. Okay, Aylin, hi from Turkey, and hi back to you. Salam, peace. May Allah have mercy on the people of Turkey and make it easy for you there as well. Mario, I love hearing you. I'm in the Let the Quran Speak. Okay, sure. Continue to watch Let the Quran Speak, and you can see more episodes by going to our website, www.quranspeaks.com. There you can send us your questions, your comments, your donations, and you can also see links to past episodes of our show. All right. Yes, Geldi. So a lot of people, a lot of you are watching tonight. I was afraid that this is too late, but I guess it's the same time as 11 o'clock news. So it's either me or the 11 o'clock news, and I'm glad that you chose me. Thank you very much for that. Yes, and Geldi, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Please forgive me, everyone, in case I misspell or mispronounce your name. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother, can you tell me, please, tell about the hadith about Jaja and a person from Qahtani that's supposed to come before Mahdi. Okay, so I have to say that, you know, the hadiths which have predictions about the future, we need to know how to understand these hadiths. You see, the Prophet ﷺ was a messenger of God. He's inspired by God, and God could tell him about the future. So if the Prophet is saying something about the future, that's nothing strange or impossible. However, we should be aware that often the hadiths which seem to be predicting the future, and we are reading them as descriptions of our current time, they were already coined by people at a time, sometime after the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him, when there were new developments. People are looking at these new developments and they're saying, you know what, the Prophet, peace be upon him, predicted something like this to happen. And as they told, one person told another, who told another, it actually becomes an actual saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So we have to be careful about that. So that's why I don't study these hadiths in great detail, and I'm not the best person to ask about them. But if you ask somebody else, they might give you some more detailed explanation. But from my humble perspective, I would say let's not give too much credence to such hadiths because more likely they are coined by people at a past time, reflecting on the situation at that time. It's not so much for us to be reading them as descriptions of our present time. Okay, Muhammad Didat. Didat is a favorite name, obviously. Didat, Sheikh Ahmed Didat, one of my dear teachers. He inspired me to do this work of da'wah, to present the message of Islam to the wider world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him and bless his entire family. So I don't know if Muhammad Didat is the same as the son of our Sheikh Didat, but nonetheless, Brother Muhammad, you have a famous name. Okay, Salam, could you perhaps elaborate on the meaning of the verse where it mentions the middle prayer? Yeah, so the Quran in Surah Al Baqarah says, Hafidhu ala salawati wa salati al-wusta wa kumu lillahi qanitin. Take care of the prayers in general, and especially the middle prayer, and be devoted to Allah. So what is meant by this middle prayer? Nobody knows exactly which is meant by the middle prayer. Why does it say the prayers in general and the middle prayer specifically? So some think that it is the Asr prayer, because we have 5 prayers in the day from Fajr till Isha, and Asr is the third one. It's the one in the middle. Some think, no, it's the Fajr prayer, because you see all of those other prayers seem to be coming rapidly in quick succession, one after another from Dhuhr till Isha, and then there's a long gap, and then you have the Fajr prayer, then another long gap, and then the Dhuhr prayer. So it looks like the Fajr prayer is in isolation. Maybe that's the middle one. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And we have to say, let's guard them both. Guard the Fajr prayer, be careful about that. Guard the Asr prayer, be careful about that. In fact, to guard all of them. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept that from us. All right, Muhammad Anas, hello, and hello back to you, Muhammad. And Nazim, it must be morning in the UK. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and all of the people of the UK. Nazim is saying, even though the masjid is closed, it's open up new opportunities, and new avenues are opening up. Recently, a friend of mine spent about 3 hours in an Anglican church, with an Anglican church group in Japan, discussing, I'm going to see more because Nazim, you're so precious to me. No, I missed my place. Yes, discussing Ramadan and other Islamic related issues. Similar, there has been other good opportunities. Yes, and of course, you know what? One of the good things about this, Brother Nazim, is that here I am doing this Facebook post, and if our masjid was open, most likely I would not have been doing this post. But you know what will happen after this? Even when the masjid is reopened, I will try to find ways to reconnect with the wider world through things like this Facebook post. You know, I've been not technically savvy, and I'm still not, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And Nazim is the one who actually helped me to set up my Facebook page for the first time several years ago when he was visiting Toronto for the Reviving the Islamic Spirit conference. So remember that, Nazim. You're the one who helped me to set up the Facebook page. And still, I didn't use it much for the last several years. And now, due to the lockdown, here I am connecting with Facebook. And inshallah, when the lockdown is over and we're back in the masjid, I'll try to find ways to continue to broadcast on Facebook and in other social media and so on. So now I'm seeing how easy it is. I'm getting the hang of it, and I'm enjoying it. So let me do that. Yeah, you're right, Nazim. Such opportunities would not have been available in the past, but we have to count our blessings. You see, when we think about something like coronavirus, we know how terrible it is, and we see death and destruction all around us, and we say, okay, how terrible it is. But for God to allow something like this, there must be some redeeming factors. It's not all like 100% bad. There are going to be some good aspects to it. There is a silver lining behind that dark cloud. And we have to find those silver linings. We have to see what is good about this. And bad as it is, what are the redeeming factors? And this is one of them. We have more opportunities to connect with people via social media, and we have more time for discussions, especially of a religious nature. Let's capitalize on that. So, Dar es Salaam, Gina, I'll wave right back to you. And Sharif Ali, Salaam alaikum, Sheikh, wa alaikum salam, Sharif. Ahmed Sufyan, I see all of the love from you there. Thank you, Ahmed, and I love you too. Burku, salam from a Turkish family, lives in Scotland. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, bless your family, whether they happen to be in Turkey or in Scotland. May Allah bless you all in Scotland. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the people of Scotland and of the UK in general. I was in Scotland many times. And I remember drinking iron brew. I don't know if you guys still have that drink. May Allah protect all of the people of Scotland and of the UK. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the entire world. Brother Nazim, Jason Wilson, okay, I'm going to skip that. Sami, salam from Australia, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the people of Australia. I haven't followed up the news regarding how the coronavirus is affecting people in Australia, but I was recently reading an article in which there was some commentary on what recently transpired in the United States of America. It is said that the President of the United States made a suggestion about injecting disinfectant, and the Lysol company had put out a public statement that said, no, don't internalize our products. And others have rushed to say, no, this is not a good idea. And then on the other hand, the White House is saying, well, wait a minute, you guys misunderstood our president. He only meant that sarcastically. Some writer in the Toronto Star is saying, well, wait a minute, no, he didn't seem to mean that sarcastically. So there's a lot of discussion about this. But in that discussion, in an article in the Toronto Star, it was mentioned that we shouldn't think that the warm climate is going to help us to get rid of the virus, because some places in the world where it is now summer, nonetheless, they have it. And I think they mentioned Australia in that context, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. In any case, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, Brother Sami, and your family, all of your loved ones. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of the people of Australia. And Koyas is watching. I wave right back to you. Shahreen, Jazakumullah, and thank you as well, Shahreen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Akim is saying Barakallahu Fikum, and may Allah bless you as well, Brother Akim. Saleh, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. Hamdi, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Kareem, and Ramadan Kareem to all of you. And Tazar Ali, Sheikh, may Allah bless you for this work you're doing. Thank you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept, and yes, may He bless me and bless you as well. Of course, you're part of it. I couldn't be doing this work alone. If I didn't know that people were watching out there, I would lose courage, and I probably wouldn't be doing this. But I see the love pouring in, and that encourages me to be here and do this with you. So, Dar Salam is watching from California. Okay, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of the people of California and the entire United States of America. M. Hussein is watching. I wave right back to you. And Azharuddin, Assalam Sheikh, wa alaikum salam. And my top fan, Morris Alian Sharif. I hope you say your name correctly. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muallim. Thank you, my brother Morris. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you, bless you, and protect all of the people around you. You're writing in Arabic. I don't remember if you said that you are from Medina. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, all of the people of Medina and Mecca and all over the Muslim world and the entire world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reopen the sacred sites of the Muslims, Mecca and Medina, so that we can come back in and perform Umrah and Hajj for his sake, and may he accept all of our little humble efforts. Yunus, assalamu alaikum from Detroit, Michigan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of the people of Detroit and of Michigan more generally, and the United States of America. Saleh, may Allah bless you, doing great work. Thank you for these kind words. Keep making dua for me. Dil Masid, assalamu alaikum, dear Sheikh. Thank you for tuning in, brother or sister Dil. I can see just a little icon there, and it looks like it's a brother. Sorry if I make mistakes in recognizing your name, pronouncing your name, and even in determining gender from your name. So I love you all for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Brother Maurice is saying, Allahu yusahil alayna kullan jami'an. Yes, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us, Brother Maurice. And thank you for that kind prayer. Azharuddin, Mufti Abu Layth show with you was amazing. And thank you, Brother Azhar, for this wonderful comment. Thank you for that. Thank you for the words of encouragement. My brother Shakir is watching. I wave right back to him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you, my brother. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of the people of Florida and everywhere else. Mrs. Bernadette Samaru, salam, brother, and wa alaikum salam. And Sharif, is there anything that specifically says cremation is haram? I'm not aware that anything specifically says that cremation is haram. I know this question gets raised now because of the coronavirus, and the question is what to do with the body that has been contaminated with the virus. So some health authorities may be recommending cremation. In the Toronto area, some of the Muslim scholars have requested the Minister of Defense, Mr. Ahmed Hussein, who is in charge now of dealing with charities in this situation of the coronavirus outbreak. The Muslim scholars have requested him to give special consideration for the sensitivities of Muslims in this matter, and he has agreed, as far as I recall from a meeting with him. How this will actually play out in practice, this remains to be seen, but so far there seems to be a tacit understanding that the Muslim sensitivity will be accommodated. But at the same time, Muslims should be aware that the most important consideration at the moment is to contain the virus, to stop more people from dying. And if the person is already dead, that person's soul goes back to God. The body is not so very important. So what is done with the body, this is not like the end of the world. However, what is the Muslim sensitivity regarding this? See, we believe about in the life hereafter and in the final outcomes of heaven and hell is thought to be a fiery place. So we don't want to have the thought that our relative is going into hell. And of course, this is not hell here if in cremation, but because it reminds us of that. We don't want to have the association, okay, so we're putting our family in a fire. We don't want that. That's our sensitivity. But this is an emotional point. It is not a legal point. So legally, if there is, if you're asking me like what's the proof that says we cannot be cremated, I'm not aware of anything in the Quran that says we cannot do this. And in the Sunnah, we have it that people were generally buried. So that's the Sunnah. That's the way we're going to do it. That's our default thing. We're going to do that. But if circumstances so require and people are led towards cremation, I don't see like this is the end of the world. I don't see it to be impossible. I don't see that this to be an inflexible or non-negotiable item and teaching in our faith. I see that this is that I wouldn't welcome it, but if that's what is needed to contain the virus, then we would have to say that this is better to contain the virus, even if it means cremating a Muslim, the body of a Muslim, because the Muslim has gone back, his soul has gone back to God. The body is not so very important. In any case, we put a body in the ground, the body is going to be eaten by worms and so on. Everybody knows that. But and that's not welcome. Like, we don't want our relatives to be treated that way, but that's the tradition. So we follow the tradition that way. Okay. Yes. Yasin Jildi, something like this, Yasin Jildi. Sorry again for my mispronunciation. Thank you for the answer. Yeah, you're almost right with pronunciation of my name. I recently read an article that scriptures of Dead Sea found to be fake. Is this true? Because I remember one Christian scholar, I'm going to see more here, one Christian scholar related to that in one of your debates. Okay, so I came across something like this as well. I just glanced through it, but I didn't read the article. But that article could not mean that all of the Dead Sea Scrolls are fake. A lot of studies have already gone into the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is a whole field of inquiry by itself. So there are a lot of Dead Sea Scrolls which have been discovered, which are genuine. But it could be that one or two manuscripts here or there somebody came up with that were promoted as genuine and turns out to be not so. Okay, so Ms. Bernadette is saying, I'm a convert and is still learning. And yes, I'm still learning too, Mrs. Bernadette. So we all have to keep learning, but thank you for joining this forum so that we can learn together. Milhak Salam, watching from the Philippines, mashallah. And in the Philippines, it must be like about noontime, close to noon. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and all of the people of the Philippines, give you good health and prosperity and longevity. Walter, Brother Shabir, is it permissible to eat kosher food instead of halal due to the lack of halal sources due to the coronavirus? Okay, so in general, Brother Walter, when we speak of halal, some people, I know your question seems to presume that when we speak of halal, we mean that what Muslims have made halal by themselves, so that by Muslim slaughter meat, for example. But the term halal obviously means permissible. So the question then is kosher meat permissible for Muslims? In which case, that too is halal. And the answer is yes. Generally, the Quran already gave us permission by saying that ta'amul ladina utul kitaba min qablikum, the food of the people of the book, the food of the people who have been given the book prior to you. So the food of the people of the book is generally recognized by Muslim scholars to be permissible. Why is that permissible? Because in my humble understanding, putting all of the verses of the Quran together to deal with this, the point of the Quran is that four things are impermissible. That which has been found dead. The rationale seems to be that that which is found dead already, that could be maybe died of disease or whatever, so stay away from that one. The blood, you cannot extract blood from the animal and drink it, so that's considered impermissible. Lahmul khinzir, the swine, the flesh of swine, and ma uhilla bihi li ghayrillah, that which has been immolated to other than God. So if it was an animal killed on an altar as a kind of a sacrifice to another god, well then this is not permissible for Muslims. So those are the four prohibited things. So where does the kosher meat fall? It doesn't fall in any of the prohibited things, because on the kosher meat, neither Jews nor Christians are going to recite the name of any other god. They're not going to dedicate this meat to any other god. And therefore, the meat is not in one of the prohibited four categories, and therefore it is permissible. So generally, I take the view that the kosher meat is permissible for Muslims. That doesn't mean that I go about eating it myself. I insist on halal. If I were flying, and I fly a lot, as you know, to go to lectures here and there, I always pick the vegetarian meal or the Muslim meal. And of course, if the salmon is available, I pick the salmon, especially on a flight back from the UK to Canada Air Canada often offers a salmon meal, but the trick in that is that you have to pick in advance what you want. You want the Muslim meal or what? And if you pick the Muslim meal, then you don't get the salmon. So, sometimes it's a gamble. What do you go for? And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. But in any case, I generally don't go about eating it, but I don't consider it to be haram or impermissible. The kosher meat is therefore halal in general. So now, let's say in general, somebody took the view that no, the kosher meat, we're going to stay away from that. We're only going to eat the meat which we know to be halal, that's coming from the Muslim sources. But even in that, if one took that stricter view, and it's not necessarily a stricter view, it's I don't know what to call it, but anyway, if we can say it's a narrow view. If one took that narrow view generally, then in our present situation, many will be willing to relax that narrow view and open it up a little bit, because you can't insist that Muslims be deprived of meat at this time when there's a lockdown and you're not getting your usual supply of the usually supply chains of halal meat from Muslim sources. So let me move on. So Johnny, your big brother is watching. Yes, and yes, I'm delighted, Johnny, that you're watching, and that my big brother is also watching. Adnan, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Kareem, and Ramadan Kareem to you too. Burko, I'm going to end this very quickly now, so let me go through the comments very quickly. Burko saying we still do have Iron Brew. Okay, I'll bring it to you, and it will bring you to mind from now on. Yeah, when you drink Iron Brew, just remember that I drank it and I loved it. Bless you for all your work, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enlighten you. Okay, what's going on here? All right, here we are. May Allah bless you for all of your work and the way you enlighten us. And thank you, Brother Borko, for your kind comments, and keep making dua for me. Arman, Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Shabir Ali, salam from Singapore. And yes, salam to you and everyone in Singapore. Brother Arman, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and bless you and all of the people there. Azharuddin, hadith about chaining of shayateen, in your view on it in Ramadan. So there is this hadith that says that in Ramadan, sulsilat shayateen, the shayateen are chained up. So what does it mean? Some people take it literally, that thinking that shaitan is chained up somewhere, but if shaitan is a spirit being, like how do you chain the spirit being with physical chains? What I understand is that when a Muslim is fasting, the Muslim is protected from the shaitan. So it is as if the shaitan is chained up, because the shaitan is feeling helpless right now. The shaitan wants to come and inspire the Muslim to do something wrong, and the Muslim is saying, no, I'm fasting, I'm not going to do that now, maybe after Ramadan, but of course we shouldn't be making up our minds to do bad things after Ramadan, but at least that might be one way of buying time and saying to the shaitan, no, I'm not going to do that, at least not in Ramadan. So the shaitan is feeling helpless in Ramadan. So that is the statement in the hadith that says that the shayateen are chained up. That means that the shayateen are feeling helpless as if they are chained up. It's not that they're physically chained up. I don't think we need to take it that way, because since they're spirit beings, you couldn't chain them up with physical chains anyhow. I hope that helps. Okay, Saleh. Enlightening people all over the world, just like the Prophet of today. Prophet of today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and help us. And of course, we don't want this to get to our heads. If we do a little bit of good work, we still need to remain humble before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why, in addition to getting your nice and kind comments, sometimes somebody on the forum says something mean, and I take that in good stride, because we need to hear that as well. If I hear all of these kind of good comments, sometimes it can get to a person's head. We don't want to be proud before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's one of the cardinal sins, to pride. But let's ask Allah humbly to accept from us the little good work that we do, and to forgive our shortcomings and mistakes, because surely we have those as well. Okay, Jabir, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What is your guidance regarding Eid prayer during COVID-19? Now, hopefully, by that time, inshallah, the restrictions are lifted and people can gather and perform the Eid prayer. But in the meantime, what some of the scholars are saying is that you can pray in a small group in your home with your family. Now, if you ask me, I have to tell you, I have nothing against virtual prayers. I need to say this a little bit more in more detail, because this might prove to be a controversial issue. I'm not leading any virtual prayer now myself, because I don't want to get into a controversy that way. But in terms of the world of ideas, let's talk about this. Like, what prevents Muslims from doing a virtual prayer? See, the classical Muslim scholarship takes the view that in terms of worship, we just have to follow the way it has been done before. We're not allowed to invent anything there. We can have inventions in other areas of life, in science, in technology, in medicine, and so on. We can have inventions, but when it comes to the prayers, we have to keep it the way it is. Okay, there's a certain value in that. I respect that, because you can well imagine if people were allowed to just invent and change things to match their fancies, then everything will be out of the place. You know, somebody says we don't like 3 rakats of Maghrib, make it 4. Somebody says we don't like 4 rakats of Isha, make it 3, and so on. So people can change things just willy-nilly as they like. And so to guard against that, the Muslim scholars arrived at the general principle that in terms of the ibadat, or worship, we're going to keep things as they are. But having said that, we shouldn't take things so strictly that, you know, despite what is happening around us, people are falling dead and everything like that, and we're not budging. So with this lockdown, with the coronavirus, what is happening now is that Muslims are feeling a little bit defeated. Like, you know, we can't go to the mosque, we can't go perform the Jummah prayer, we can't have the Tarawih prayer in the mosque, we can't. So with this kind of internal saying that, you know, we can't do this, we can't do that, the Muslims are feeling defeated. I don't want Muslims to feel defeated. I want Muslims to be able to say, I can go to the mosque, I can pray, I can. Okay, so if you can't go to the mosque, we have a good alternative. I can do the virtual prayer. So we can do virtual Jummah prayer, we can do virtual Tarawih prayer, we can do virtual Eid prayer. See, let's say we attended the Eid prayer, everything was normal, we went to the Eid prayer, we came back and we were, you know, meeting somebody else who didn't go to the same Eid prayer. Well, we'll be talking about our Eid prayer, your Eid prayer, what was said in our khutbah, what was said in your khutbah, and so on. The Muslims are celebrating, they're joyful, they're exchanging notes, they're talking about their experiences that day. Now, if we say no Eid prayer, no virtual prayer, nothing, then what's going to happen? Muslims, they're going to contact each other on social media. What are they going to talk about? They're going to say, oh, well, we just did this Eid prayer at home. Like, you know, like how exciting is that? So I don't want Muslims to feel depressed and defeated. I want Muslims to feel empowered. And our religion should be that empowering force that drives us forward and gives us, you know, momentum and gives us that pride so we can talk to others. You know, we can call up a Christian friend and say, hey, you know, our sermon this morning was great. You know, let me tell you one of the highlights of the sermon. So Muslims need to be empowered like this. So that only comes if we allow the virtual prayer to be done. So in a nutshell, I don't know exactly what I'll do yet when it comes to the Eid prayer, because so far I'm holding off, and I'm saying I'm not doing the virtual prayers because I don't want to be the center of controversy regarding this. But in the world of ideas, I'm discussing it and telling you plainly that I don't see why we cannot do it. But when it comes to the day of Eid itself, if things are not opening up, I don't know if I myself may open up to that possibility of doing the virtual prayer. And I'd like to know your feedback about this as well. What I sense is that the average people, the common people, the Muslims in general are saying, yeah, why can't we have a virtual prayer? They don't see anything wrong with that. But the Muslim scholars are saying, no, we have to keep it the way it is. It was never done like this. And then they throw up like, insubstantial objections. Like they will say, for example, that this would mean that the Muslims, because normally in the mosque, those who are following have to stand behind the imam. And now with the virtual prayer, you could be leading in the virtual prayer, but some of the people who are following you will be in front of you in terms of the Qibla. They're between you and the Kaaba. But that would mean that they should be able to allow those people who are going to be behind the imam. So let's say, for example, the imam of Masjid al-Haram, he's standing there right up to the Kaaba, and people are following all over the world. But everybody is behind him. Like everybody's behind him all over the world. So why don't we have a virtual prayer with him? Okay, we can say time zones are different. So let's say in my own time zone, I'm praying in my time zone. Well, anyone, the Kaaba is northeast from where I am in Toronto. So everyone southwest from me should be able to follow me, because they're, the problem of having the followers ahead of the Imam no longer applies in that case. But I would like to say more generally that this doesn't really matter, because, okay, some of you are followers of me on my Facebook page, right? You're my followers, not by virtue of being behind me, but you're following me in a way. Now, if you're following me in prayer, you don't have to be behind me to be following me. You're just going subsequent to my movement. So I say Allahu Akbar, you take that as a signal, you follow with that. So that's what meant by following. Being ahead or behind in the prayer is of little consequence. If you are marching, yes, it makes a difference, like who is ahead and who is behind. But in the prayer, we're not actually marching. So to say that the followers can't be ahead, this seems to be like an odd requirement. Yes, within the physical space, we can say that this is a consideration. If we were in the masjid, the imam is in the front. Yeah, we can understand that. This is the guy at the podium. This is the guy at the lectern. This is the guy on the mimbar, and so on. He is ahead. He is in front. The one who is lecturing to us is going to be in front that way. But no, I'm lecturing to you here, and you could be all around me geographically. Some are north, some are south, some are east, some are west. It doesn't really matter, but you're still listening to me. I'm still the leader of this particular forum. So why does it matter that the imam has to be in the front? How is that a significant objection? It is not. But the main objection is that people cannot adjust themselves to the idea that we're going to do something new and different. They want to do it the way it has always been done. But here, I've spoken a lot, and I need to end this conversation here. Blessings from my nephew Johnny and many more of you, Nojrul, Daniel, I have from Miami, Florida, Nojrul, wave back to you, Muhammad Faisal from Birmingham in the UK, Salam from Dallas from Abdullah Saifi and Abdullah Alamoun, and watching from Uganda is our brother Shafiq and Gada. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you as well and protect you and all your kids and your family. Abdullah, from Bangladesh, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and all of the people of Bangladesh. So here, I absolutely need to end it now. It's midnight in Toronto. And it may be earlier or later where you are. But let's do this again. It's been exciting tonight. I want to do this again, but I'll keep giving you some postings. I only have 5% of my battery remaining on my phone. Let me bid goodbye from you and salam and say Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of you all over the world, all of your families, all of your friends, all of your loved ones. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.